Hello everyone. So I welcome you all in this session. Today we are going to talk about the cloud service models. So we have a cloud and the cloud offers so many services to us. So all the offering of these clouds are basically divided into three kind of services. We are calling them as SaaS, PaaS and IaaS. SaaS stands for software as a service, PaaS stands for platform as a service, and IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss the features, the benefits, and the use cases for these three main cloud service models. So the very first thing is we need to develop an understanding what exactly are these service models. So we'll make an formal understanding about this cloud offering, which we are calling as service models. And later we will go into detail each services and understand that what exactly they offer to us, and also we'll take an example of different cloud providers who offer these services to the customers. So let's start. So before going into the details of the service models, we need to first understand what exactly is the components, what are the components of clouds that makes the cloud so much powerful and offers so much to the customers. So basically there are four components you can say that constitutes the cloud. We have physical data centers, we have compute, we have networks, and we have storage. So we'll see one by one what exactly are these terms. So when I say physical data centers, so data centers basically refers to large data centers that actually contains a large number of powerful machines. Now these physical machines do not get access from the customers. So when we talk about IaaS model, you will see that end users do not actually interact directly with these physical machines or the physical infrastructures, but experience it as a service provided to them. When we say compute, so compute basically refers to the computational capability of any machine. So here the providers use hypervisors to provide these computational facilities to the end customers, and it also allows the end users to programmatically provision the virtual instances with the desired amount of compute, the memory, the storage resources. And these computing resources are by default provides support like auto scaling, the load balancing, and also provide the scalability, and that makes the entire cloud computing a high performance offerings to all the customers. Then there is a network. So network, it means that it provides us the provision to create your own network onto the cloud, and these network resources can be utilized through a virtualization or through different APIs through which the customer can interact and can manage its own network on the cloud. Then we have storage. So on the cloud we have three different kinds of storage, and we are naming it as an object storage, the file storage, and block storage. In the coming weeks, we will be going in detail what exactly is the object storage, what exactly is its use, what are the scenarios when these different kind of storage are preferable. So let's move to the overview of the different service models. We have discussed that there are three service models, and we are named as SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, and they are also known as SPI model, where S stands for SaaS, P stands for PaaS, and I stand for IaaS. So software, platform, and infrastructures. Now just have a very quick look that SaaS is basically offers consumption services, means they are offering some feature, some services that can be directly consumed by the customer and make their job done. For example, Office 365 is one of the very popular SaaS example, which can be used by a customer to get their job done. Then the PaaS is basically referring to the building. So here it gives an opportunity to the developers, to the programmer, to construct their own application, to develop their own application, and then customize as per the business requirement. Then this is IaaS, is stands for hosting. So here it provides an opportunity to the customer to configure their own system. A customer can deploy and can manage and configure their own server as per their business policies, and can do all the settings, whatever the company wants, without investing on the actual infrastructure. So the company does not care for buying all these costly resources, these computing resources, but can allow to configure as per the company requirement. So this is the offering of the cloud, which we call as the IaaS, which is basically a hosting service. Okay, so let's move to the next. Now, before we actually move into these different service models, let us take a real life scenario, mean the scenario that we are very familiar, and then we will try to map these example with the cloud service model. So the very first example that I want to discuss with you is a leasing car. Now, let's say there are scenarios for using a car. Now, car can be used by leasing. You can also use a car by renting, and also you are using a car by just hiring it. Now, we have different scenarios in the real life, and we are using it in a different way. For example, if you want to lease a car, that means you want to use a car for some, let's say, 3-4 years. Now in that case, because you need to use that car for as a personal use, then you are very much careful about its specification, its model, its design. You will be caring about its performance, the color. So you are very much concerned about all these features of the car. Also, you are driving the car, you are also paying for the fuel which you are using during your journey. You are paying all the taxes, all the tolls that actually comes during your usage. Now this is one scenario. This is called leasing a car. Now this scenario we are calling it as a IaaS. Now later you will realize that how it maps to the IaaS, because these are the things like specification, performance, color of the car. You are using it, and also you are paying for its usage. So this is something called IaaS. This is how we are actually using the computing resources on the cloud. Now, other example is renting a car. Now, renting a car, you may be renting a car for a month or two. So, when you want to use it for a lesser time, you are not much concerned about its specification. Even you are not very much bothering about its colors, because you just want to do your work done. But here also you are still driving it and paying for all the fuel you are using and all the other tolls that will comes during your usage. But you are not, or you are very little care about the colors and the specifications about the car, because you have to use it for a very small period. So this we are comparing as a platform as a service. Now you need to keep in mind, here I am talking about the car, but actually we are comparing with the resources which are available on the cloud, and we want to make use of the resources. Then the third scenario is you want to hire a taxi to reach to a particular location. So that means for a very short time you want to take the services of any car to accommodate from one position to another position. So if you look at the scenario, actually you don't worry about anything. For example, when you are using services like My Taxi, you are using a Yandex Taxi, you don't normally care for what car you are ordering, means it is of Chevrolet or Tata or a Mercedes, whatever the car actually will be available at that location, you are only interested to hire that one. You don't worry for the brand of the car, the color of the car. You simply want to hire the car and go to your location. So you don't care about the specification, you don't care about the performance, you don't care about the color. Even when you are using this car, you are not even driving it. You are also not paying the charges of the fuel or any other thing that need to be paid while traveling on this car. Everything is actually paid as one amount, that is called as a service charge that you give after using it. Now this is something, a scenario that we are going to compare as a software as a service. So just keep all these scenarios in mind, and later when we know more about the IaaS, PaaS and SaaS, and then you will realize that when we use the resources on the cloud, and sometimes we are very much care about using the resources and also configuring the resources. You want to use one server, but also you want to configure the servers as per your requirement. That means you just looking for the IaaS kind of scenario. Other is, you actually don't care about the configuration, but you want to customize your application. You have an application in your business and you want to customize as per your requirement, but you don't want to care about the other things like configuration of the server, like managing of the server, like other things that is required to run these machines. You don't want to care about that. That means you are like a platform as a service. Similarly, when we talk about software as a service here, you want to use some features, some services provided by the cloud, and you just want to use it and get your work done. For example, we are using many services in our day-to-day life, like we are using Gmail is again said to be a software as a service which we are using for a communication through the internet. We are having the email, Gmail account as our email. We are using translator to translate from one text to the other language. We are using clouds. We are using this, the Google provides a cloud services where you are allowed to keep your files, your data, and you can access it from anywhere. So there are many services are there which are available. We are just using it, and we actually don't care how to design the services, how to deploy the services. We are simply using the services and get our work done. Many of the services are paid. Some of the services are like free. So this is again can be compared as a software as a service. Okay, let us take another example to make a better understanding. The other example is eating a pizza. Now, these are the different things that is required to consume a pizza or to eat a pizza. Let's say the very first scenario is we are going to prepare at home. So when we are preparing ourselves at home, then we need to prepare a cheese. We need to have a topping. We need to also have a sauce. We need to have a dough. The pizza dough is required. The fire is required. Gas is required. Soda is required. Dining table is required. Utensils are required. So all these things is required to prepare a pizza at home, and you are the responsible to prepare everything to consume the pizza. So this is something you are preparing at home. These are the responsibilities that you need to take care. Now if you look at this, now to get the pizza ready, all these things are required in all the scenarios. So here also we have these components. Here also we have all these things. Here also we require all these things. Now look at the scenario, take and bake. So here it refers that we bring some raw materials from the market, and then we are going to prepare for ourselves. So we'll bring the cheese, the topping, tomato sauce, the pizza dough. These are things are actually available in the market, in the shop, in the raw form. We bring all these things, and then we will be preparing ourselves. We will use our fire, we will use our oven, the gas, the soda, the utensils, and all the time that you have to spend to prepare it. So this is one scenario. You are bringing the raw things together, all together from the shop, and preparing it yourself. The other thing is you can make an order and the things are delivered at your home. So you just don't care for all these things. It will be taken care by the restaurant or the pizza shop who is preparing the shop pizza for you. The pizza will be delivered to you, and this is the one thing that you are doing. So you will be taking soda from your side. You will be using the utensils to place your pizza and then eat it. So this is one scenario. The other scenario is you are simply going to the pizza shop or some restaurant or some, we have many pizza shops are there. We have, for example, Domino Pizza is a very famous one for pizzas. You can go to Domino Pizza and you can just order it and consume it there. So everything is taken care by the shop or by the restaurant who is serving you the pizza. So here you can see that all the components are actually utilized, but it can be used in a different way at all the stages. Now this is a scenario when you are the one who is taking care for all the things. Now if we think about the computing resources, so this is a scenario where any company is opening its own data center. In that case, he has to purchase all the computing resources, all the servers. He has to do all the configuration. They have to hire a IT team which can configure and install all the required things so that the business can run. Everything, all the installation, setup, patching, management will always be taken care by the IT persons of that company. So all the jobs to be taken care by the company peoples. This is called on-premise. So in cloud computing, we will be using on-premise term. That means the entire data center is actually maintained at the company site itself. Okay, so here let's look the entire scenario in the context of cloud computing. So the cloud computing, when we say the resources, so the resources like the networking, storage, server, virtualization of the system, middleware, runtime, application, and data. So everything is to be taken care by the company, and we are calling it as a on-premise. So if the company decided to set up its own data center where they are responsible to take care of everything, virtualization, configuring the operating system, configuring the machines, managing all the things, then this is a on-premise, and this is similar to the pizza that you have prepared at home. Means you are responsible to take care of everything. Now this is something this is something that we have taken from the third party. So the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, everything is offered by the cloud providers. So we have taken all these things from the market, you can say. Like in the case of a pizza, we have taken this from the market, and then this is all we are preparing for ourselves. Now this is something that you have to manage. So you will be installing your own operating system, you are setting your own server, you are setting your own strategies, the policies, the authorization, the access policies, everything will be taken care by you, your application data. Now this is said to be the infrastructure as a service, where you are responsible for these blue colored blocks, and this is taken care by the cloud providers. If you move to the other offerings, now this part is to be taken care by the cloud providers. They will take care about all the management, configuring, and runtime, middleware. Everything will be taken care by the providers, and you need to only deploy your application, and you have a control on your application and the data which is used in the application. So this is platform as a service. So in the previous example, when we talk about the pizza, you have ordered it from the pizza shop and you enjoyed the comfort of your home, and you consume the pizza by using your own utensils. So you have the comfort here, Like in the case of pizza, you have the comfort of sitting, relaxing at your home. So here, when you talk about the platform, you have a provision, you have a comfort, you have permission to manage your application, to customize your application as per the requirement, and also you have full control on your data. Now, when you talk about the software as a service, this is the same as you are simply going to the restaurant and to the pizza shop and consuming the pizza. So here, everything is actually offered by the cloud providers. You are simply enjoying its services, its offer. So there are many products or services are available nowadays that are fulfilling many of our day-to-day tasks. We can use them and get our work done. This is known as software as a service. So now we have understood uh, an overview that how the entire offerings of the clouds are divided into three services. The three service models means we have understood all the offerings are divided into the three services, like software as a services and platform as a services and infrastructure as a services. So this is how we use these services on the cloud. Now we'll go one by one all the services and see in detail what exactly we need to take care while using these services. So this is a cloud service model triangular structure, where you can see at the top we have a SaaS and the PaaS and the IaaS. So when you look at the SaaS, so SaaS is basically on the top of the PaaS. That means you are using all the thing which is provided at the PaaS and also the IaaS. So the more you move to the peak of this triangle or this mountain, you will get the less control. So at the SaaS, there is no control to the customer to you on the computing resources of the cloud. PaaS, you get some of the control, and then IaaS, you get the maximum control on the cloud resources. Now, who are the actual person who deals with these kind of services? So the IaaS is basically taken care by the network administrator. All the IT guys who actually configure the entire system at any company, they are actually the one who take care or deals with the IaaS. PaaS is basically for the deployment. So this is the offering for the programmers, for the developers who would like to develop an application and want to deploy on on the on the cloud. So here the cloud will provide you the environment where the programmers can deploy their applications and can get their business run. SaaS is basically for any end users who just want to consume the services, the ready-made services to use in the existing form, where there is no provision or no possibility to customize these applications. You need to use in its present form. So there are many services are available nowadays that can be consumed by end users. So the user of this SaaS can be anyone who want to make use of the existing services. Then we have something called cloudware. You are familiar with the term hardware, software, firmware. Then we have something called cloudware, which actually comes when the cloud comes into existence. Let us see what is cloudware. So cloudware is basically an application program that is stored on on these on these clouds, or you can say it can be stored on a remote server, and this program can be accessed by the internet using a browser. So cloudware is a term that is more near to the software service as a SaaS, where you are paying to use the software by taking a subscription of that software rather than purchasing the software itself. For example, all the email that we are using in our daily life, or like Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo Mail, this can be an example of cloudware. Now this application does not reside on the machine, but will be available on the provider server, and you can access these applications using a browser. Now it does not require it to install on your machine, because it does not residing on your machine, so there is no need to configure or install it on your on your machine. And because you're not installing it on your machine, so there is no need to provide the space for it installation. Normally when we install a software on a machine, it requires some memory space. So this is again an advantage of using cloudware, that we are getting rid of providing an extra space to install these on the machine. Normally when we if you are you installing the MS Office, the entire package, it may take up to 3 gigabyte of hard disk. Similarly, if you install the entire utilities or services offered by the Windows operating system, it may require up to 15 gigabytes of hard disk space. So all this can be saved, can be avoided if we are using these services on the cloud. Maybe there's a requirement, if you want to use the services, they may be asking you to install an app uh, to access these services, but these apps will actually require a very less space, and you do not need to provide the larger space to install entire software or the application that you want to make use of. Now let us compare that what are the difference between using a cloudware application or a desktop application. Cloudware application is an application that you are accessing from the cloud, means the application itself is residing on the cloud. And desktop application is an application which is actually installed on your personal computers. So let us compare the two things. Now whenever you are comparing the two things, you need to look on all the parameters, then only we can make effective comparison. It's not only this, that we can take only one parameter, for example the cost, and we compare the cost and we say that this is the better than the other. We need to look all the parameters that is associated with the two applications, and then we need to compare which one is better than the other. So if we take the cost factor, then the cloudware may be free, because there are many services available on the cloud which are free, or they may require subscription fees, which may be monthly basis or a yearly basis. So some cost may be incurred or may be free, depending on the nature of the application. For desktop application, if you want to use, you need to pay one time for its purchase, and you need to install it on your personal computer. So the cost you may compare. If you are going to use for a very short period, it is always good to go for this option, because you need to pay only for that much time. This is something which is a pay as you go model, where you are paying for the duration you are using it. But when you go for the desktop application, the cost is actually you have to pay for its purchase. You are using it or not using it, it does not matter, you have to pay for it. So you need to identify what is your usage, and then you can decide on this cost factor. The second is installation. So installation is again not required, as we have discussed, it is already residing on the cloud, so it is to be installed on the cloud. But when you are using a desktop application, you need to install on your machine, and if multiple machines are used, then you have to install on all the machines separately. But here there is no need to install, because it is to be accessed by the browser. So you may be required to just download some supporting app. For example, when we are using many applications, we are getting the app installed from the Google Store, and that app is actually allowing us to get access of the services offered by that application. Then updates is also again not to be taken care by the user, it is taken care by the provider, means the cloud. They will update its all the version which is actually releasing time to time. So there is no responsibility of the user to take care of it. And in the desktop application, then the user has to be responsible to update regularly, to keep the application updated with all the recent features. Ease of use Ease of use, maybe again it will like very easy to use, because you need to uh, only need internet, and with the browser you can access these application. Now with this kind of application, there is a bound. You cannot access it through the browser because they are installed on a particular device. So you are constrained with the physical location. You need to be available or present at that machine where the application is installed. Then only you can make use of it. So this is one constraint with the desktop application. Functionality. Functionality, normally if you are using like kind of free version or subscription, then you may be compromising with some features. With desktop application, if you're installing it, normally when you purchase any product, you will be getting most of the features which are provided in the application. So here, in terms of functionality, you may be getting more features when you are installing it on the application. But it's not always true, because there are different kind of subscriptions are available. You can also subscribe for your usage, and also avail the features which are offered by these services. Resource utilization is again, this is very good, and it provide you the optimal utilization of the resources, because it does not require to use any memory for installing these softwares and updates, and entire processing is also done on the cloud, so there is no need to efficient processors to get your tasks done. But in the case of desktop application, the performance is actually based on the memory which you are having. It actually depends on the configuration of your desktop machine, what kind of memory you are having, what kind of processor you are having with your machine will actually affect its performance. Then platform independence. In the cloudware application, they are accessed by the browser. So any user using any of the operating system, so it can be accessible to any users using any of the platform, maybe Mac, maybe Windows, maybe Linux, Unix, because it can be accessed by the browser. But in the desktop application, it may be affected, and it will run on the corresponding platform on which the application is made of, or you need to make a different versions of the application which can run on different platforms. So when you might have noticed, when you purchase the application, it may ask you that which OS you are going to use to run this application, and you have to purchase it on a defined OS. Maybe you are using Windows, then you will be purchasing it for Windows. That means you cannot run that product on the different operating system. Then we have internet connectivity. Now this is again one factor that affects the performance and the utility of this service. So the cloudware application is badly affected by the internet. It's purely dependent on internet. So if you want to use any of the application, the cloudware application, where the internet is not good or the connection is poor, then this is not good to use. Now desktop applications are actually independent of internet connections, and you are free and get advantage of all the features without even an internet connection. Now when we talk about the security, now security is again, it's a big question always in mind to use the services. So you need to always keep in mind that whenever you are using a cloudware applications, you are relying on the third party. So you need to check what is the credentials of the third party, what is its market value, what are the policies they are using to keep the data of the customers, what kind of encryption they are using. So all these issues you have to take care when you are using the cloudware application. But with the desktop application, you have full control of the application and the data that goes to the application. So this is more secure, you can say, and you have a more controlling over your data in case of desktop application. Now when it comes to data storage, now data storage is again, uh, data is actually transferred. If you want to access the data which is actually used within this application through your service, then you need to get transport all data from the server to your machine. So again, it is affected by the internet connection, and also you need to check what is the kind of configuration is there at the provider side, what kind of bandwidth you are having, because it will affect the transfer of this data from the server to your machine. But in the desktop application, the entire storage is kept at your local storage, so there is no foundation of the bandwidth that you are using to access the internet. So again, here desktop application is much better. So we have many factors are there. So always when we have to decide which one is good for us, the cloudware or the desktop application, we need to think all on these factors, and then we need to do a trade-off. You need to realize that which of the factors are most important for your business, and then only you can into a position to identify. Cloudware application may be good for one person or one organization, and for other person it may not be good. So there is no general acceptance that one kind of application is always good in all scenarios. It all depends on the condition, on the constraint, on the business nature, on the requirement. So you need to have an understanding that different factors are actually available. So here what actually we are doing, we are trying to understand what are the different factors that exist or we need to compare with. So all these factors are there. So whenever you need to make a decision, you need to always look on all these factors and then compare and then decide what is good for you. There is nothing that will always be good in all the situations. So we need to do a trade-off. We need to compromise. So we need to compromise which factor is more important on us. We will give a priority to on them, and then we can compromise on some other factors. This is how we make decisions. So this is just an understanding we have made so far, that what are the different service models. So we have seen we have SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, and then we have a cloudware also, that what are the offerings at the cloud and how we can compare in this with the desktop application. So in the next we are going to go in details all the service model and understand their offerings. Okay, thank you very much.